We've had three fantastic games today so far. One more to round out the evening. Legacy versus Alpha Sydney, Game 2. Alpha Sydney took Game 1, and they looked pretty comfortable in doing so. My name is Alpha Jackal, and I'm joined by Lynx Clone to see if Legacy can do a turnaround, or if Alpha Sydney can continue on with their momentum and take Game 2. Lynx, what are your thoughts as we head into the picks and bans?
If Alpha Sydney can pick up that Kronos again like they did last game, it should be a much easier game. I don't think Legacy are going to give them the gift of both either Neath or Kronos for Swifty. They really are going to look to shut them down. And maybe possibly ban out the Jingwei and Rana Barana. But what most importantly, they need some late game in their draft. They need to really think about how is this going to affect the late game.
For me, they just need to prioritize relics as well as you said, a hyper carry in their picking stage better. And obviously their draft was good, it was well balanced, they had a couple of carries here and there. Legacy, lots of setup, no one to set up for. And the Wrath it didn't work out as well as it probably should have done for Legacy. They couldn't find any objectives at all. But enough about Game 1, it's Game 2, as we're going to go into the picks and bans. Legacy, they're going to be on the blue side, with Alpha City taking up the red side. Legacy with the option for the first ban, do we see a Chronos ban?
Quite possibly. Like, I feel like Swifty has been such an important ban that they might just simply have to ban it away. They can't look it away, but instead, the terror from Tory Sky's last game was also a very strong reason why Swifty was able to live so much, just simply because he was getting that extra bit of HP while he was rewinding. But then comes the Raijin ban from Alpha Sydney.
Again, no more for this Thunder God in the mid lane. It is getting a bit of a nerf in the next patch, so we may actually see some play from him in 3.18. Don't think we'll be seeing Cupid when he comes around in 3.18, though. That is going to be the stuff of nightmares as Susanoo is taken off the table.
Yes, everyone's going to run in terror, one could say, from the Cupid. But now we're just looking for that final ban from Alpha City, and still no Nemesis ban, and instead it's going to be another Erlang Shen ban. They really want to ban it only good at solos Erlang Shen. They just don't want to see it whatsoever.
So again, quite a few options up for Legacy to pick. They can pick up the Nemesis. They haven't shown that they will do it openly, only if the draft suits it. So they're going to go ahead and give HS247 his Freya, a very dominant pick in the late game. Needs some help early, but this time they have drafted that hyper carry like we wanted them to.
And kind of how Swifty loves his Kronos, HS just loves the Freya. He's played it a long time, even back to Split 1, I should say. When he was playing in the jungle, he was still picking Freya. So this Freya goes a long way back. Over on Alpha Sydney side, though, we do see the Sobek as well as the Jingwei again for Rana Barana. I wouldn't really think that... I know Swifty has done some weird picks, but I don't think this will be going mid.
I don't think so either, and the Sobek pickup is a bit strange to me, given that Jingwei does incredibly well against Sobek. I don't see Legacy Esports picking that one up, so they could have elected to pick up a more dominant mid laner, more dominant jungler, and just went from there instead. They're going to pick up the Sobek and the Wheelix as their third pick. Legacy taking up the Fenrir and Geb. Fenrir has a tough time against the Wheelix if the Gravity Surge is up. If the Gravity Surge is down, a Wheelix is just a free meal for Fenrir, because there's nothing that Wheelix can really do to interrupt that Brutalize in time for most of the damage to come out.
Not to mention, Sobek and Awilix is one of the oldest combos since Awilix came out. It's one of the easiest setups if you want to get that Gravity Surge. Not to mention, you already have the Persistent Gust as well to set it up. So all these different knockups and setups are quite nice. The Geb is really going to be the one person that Legacy need to rely on. They need Weave to be on point with those Geb shields. Otherwise, the Freya is going to be pulled into the Awilix and the Hyper Carry is going to go to waste.
Well, the Kronos is going to be taken off the table. Swifty, you've been banned out. Neath, still an option if they want to put that in the mid lane. That will force them into potentially magical-based solo laner, as they will have three physical-based gods in the ADC, jungle, and mid role respectively. So I don't see them picking that one up. It's going to be the Yanis instead, a very supportive mid lane god, but can still do a lot in the way of burst.
I can understand where you're coming when you say Yanis is supported, but like, while he's teleporting across the map as well, he's hitting you for over 1,000 health, 1,000 damage. It's just like, it's kind of sounding similar to saying Raijin is a utility god. A lot of people will just laugh in your face when you say that. Over on Legacy side, we see the Wukong as well, Kukulkan being locked in.
Kukulkan, that is a very spicy pick going up against this Yanis. But what Yanis really doesn't do well against is dot-based abilities, because you can teleport through the wall, you can get away from these straight line nukes. But if you're affected by a dot and go through the wall, you're still going to be hit by that dot ability when you're on the other side of it, and you will die to it. So the tornadoes be a real problem for Yanis to deal with. I potentially would have liked to see the Poseidon instead, though, because the cripple offered would mean that Wilix couldn't feather step, Janus could not then go through the walls. It would be very difficult for Chingwei to dash away as well. It would have done a lot to counter the mobility from Alpha Sydney.
Kukulkan is a very Hail Mary sort of god. It either does extremely well, gets ahead, gets fed, does exactly what you want it to do, or Agony will basically miss every single ultimate. He'll get killed constantly by the Willis rotations, by maybe even Sobek rotations, won't be able to get out of the early game, and will just be dying constantly. So, Legacy, they are putting a lot on the line this game to try and bring back their reputation.
Speaking of the game, we are live, and into it, minions are spawning, and Agni, we're going to be looking at this Kukulkan very closely, and he's already gone for a very risky sort of Soul Stone and Soul Reliquary, meaning that he has no potions and has no way to regenerate HP. Slicey and Swifty should really be having a fun time in this mid lane against this pick.
It's actually quite hard to punish the Kukulkan this early with Swifty and Slicey. With Slicey, he would have to actually get under the tower and get the Feather Step. What Agni has to do is kind of stand back, throw down the Whirlwind, and just back away. He doesn't have to engage. He has to just wait for that level of 5 and then look for a potential snipe. Kind of similar to how Swifty will be doing, but a little bit more short range and a lot harder to hit.
What I do like for the composition, though, is that the fact they've got Shred on this Fenrir to then set up this Spirit of the Nine Winds from Agony to get the right side mid Harpies for free. Not going to get the Fire Elementals. Left side's going to be immediately started up here by Shred and Agony. They ignore this mid wave. They recognize that they're probably going to be giving up a lot of pressure in this mid lane early on until they hit level 5, so they're just happy to get as much farm as possible.
And over in the duo lane, speaking of a lack of pressure, Legacy, they have one of the weakest lane controls they possibly could get. A Geb and a Freya basically is negative lane controls. Troy's guys are kind of looking for that pluck, and indeed it finds it.
And the tail does not come out, but a good double banish and turns around with the pulse. But this is exactly what Alpha City needs to do, just zone away, hit still for 7 and weave. It's a bit of a slap fight going on the solo lane right now as K1 only going to solo down to half HP. You'll see this a lot from both Bologna and Silvercon. They'll be looking to fight each other, but Bologna should have the advantage in the lane thanks to the fact that she naturally will get this death's toll.
And over in the mid lane, Alpha Sydney actually did invade the left-hand side backhamps, denying farm from Shred as well as Agony, trying to make it a lot harder. But Shred, he actually might be looking to invade and jump right onto Rana or Tori, because once the charge prey is down, well, Tori, he's going to be just easy prey.
Look at the bottom left mid Harpies. You will see that there is a ward there from Alpha City, meaning that they knew exactly where Shred was going, and they knew what their plan was to alleviate pressure from this left-hand side. So backing up around Barano and Tori Skies, they're okay letting HS247 and Weave get a wave or two, or let them push up for a wave or two, but that's fine. But they're going to go ahead and go aggressive once again the second defender reappears in mid lane.
Yes, but the one thing that HS has over both Rana and Tori is the fact that Freya has the inbuilt lifesteal. While we look at Rana Brana, he's only been able to build into the boots and the Death Stole. The Death Stole is nice, giving you that 10 health every auto attack, but it's not the same as getting that magical lifesteal from the Pulse.
Tori Skies again getting a block of HS247 despite the fact that Weave was pretty much right in between him, still manages to, well, thread the needle and get that block. But Shred taking a more aggressive path this time. He's level 5 for Ronaldo Barana, and Tori Skies have no idea this is about to go down. He leaps in, he's looking for Tori Skies, he's gonna fire the Ragnarok, and this is gonna be first blood, going away of HS247.
Swifty trying to fire off a 3 space in time, trying to just allow them to get away, or trying to actually allow them to rotate across. That was very easy for Legacy, and that was just because the wards had just run out. Shred, understanding the ward timings and understanding the positioning of Alpha Sydney, and really capitalizing on the fact that usually you would think Legacy would have a weak lane, but as soon as one extra person comes into that lane, the entire dynamic of the lane changes.
I'm not too sure, but I think... Well, sorry, last game we saw Swifty get first blood, and we said that was a bad thing. This time, HS7 on the Freya getting first blood, that's even worse. Because Freya really suffers in the early game, more so than the Chronos, and then can carry harder in the late game than the Chronos really can in terms of a teamfight perspective. So getting Freya online quicker is a lot better for the team that has the Freya.
Not to mention, you're also starting to put Tori Skies behind on the Sobek, and even though it's a support you're putting behind, it still means he won't be able to do his job of peeling and just being that tank in the front line. He may have to go a little bit further back, and maybe later on in the teamfights, he might be that person who's stuck at level 19 at 30 minutes, even though the rest of the teams have still been fighting it out constantly. It just makes it a lot harder. Shred looking for something, but Tori Skies also looking to find something as he gets a nice gravity surge off.
Yeah, but the Purification as well as the Stone Shield, bit of miscommunication, but a Blink Cataclysm, they're looking for Swifty very, very aggressively, forcing him to go through the wall, and they're going to be rewarded with his left side Harpies. Tori Skies are not going to let these go without a fight, but it's 1 versus 3. You may have to let these go.
Tori is still looking for them, but Shred realizes that he's staying, just kind of rears his head in Ragnarok form, trying to find Tori, but Tori smilingly just decides to use the charge spray, walks away, and is now just waiting in this mid lane, hoping for Swifty to return soon enough so they can share the experience, share the love, really.
That's like an angry teenager telling his mother to get out of the room for like the 5th time.
Give me like the support in the mid. I feel like that's kind of what happens in an ADC. Like, hey, Mom, I don't need you here anymore, Mom. I don't need you here.
It's just let me fight him, please. Get away. I want these mid-harpies.
I feel like that's actually what Freya would say. Like, Freya, if she was younger, like before she was a Valkyrie, would be kind of like that in a way.
To be fair, Jingwei is meant to be a teenager herself, so maybe they have that voice line in there somewhere, or maybe they played around with it, who knows. Getting back to the game at hand though, left-hand side, warded up a tiny bit better now for Legacy. They need to make sure that they can get more of those rotations that they got from Shred, just to make sure that this Freya is as comfortable as possible.
Now it looks like Tori Skies is trying to alleviate the pressure, just bringing back both supports into the lane, but as soon as they come, they are going to be leaving. Tori Skies is probably just going to be staying for one extra wave. There's no real look of an attempt to gank from Swifty or Slicey. It's more just an intimidation factor and just saying, hey Chess, you are not getting anywhere near Run if you want to try and fight.
So in the last set we saw between Royalty and Corvid, the solo laners had massive impacts. Last game they're a bit more subdued when they're going to Solo and KO, doing their jobs quietly without really lighting the world on fire. But this time they're playing some more, they're playing higher impact solo laners in the Sun Wukong and the Bologna. When they rotate to the fights, you will feel their presence more.
I feel like last game it was less that the solo laners weren't having impact, simply because the mid lane was doing so much work from Swifty as well as Slicey and Terra that it made it look like there was nothing happening. There was still a lot of stuff coming out from the runner did a really good job of rotating around behind the team fights. It just was subdued. It was kind of like hidden behind the fact that mid lane was doing their job absolutely perfectly, including the second and the third jungler in a way.
So Agony has got himself the Book of Thoughts and started to stack that one up. Kokoka really suffers from a big mana deficiency because of just how much of a cost his abilities have in terms of mana. But Shred being plugged in, not going to get hit by the Gravity Surge. So Slicey just wasn't expecting it. Tori Skies going to get jumped on, going to get brought into a Ragnarok form. And out comes the Tornadoes, out comes the Spirit of the Nine Winds, and immediately erases the Crocodile.
There is no escape, and now Slicey is the one on attention. Now the Brutalize doing a lot of damage. The Gravity Surge, nearly another Shred, barely misses the Unchained to pick him up. Weave still chasing in that stone form, but rolls back, seeing Carrier has rotated now over from the solo lane as well.
Only got a solo, damaging Swifty there with the Jingle Bang over the wall. Agony picks himself up a nice kill there, courtesy of Shred. That's the first time we've seen that combination actually work out for Legacy. It's the first time they've attempted it this game.
That's exactly what they wanted. They now, not only do they have the hyper carry, but they actually have something to set up for. Agni Bombs are great and all, but they don't do as much damage as something like a Spirit of the Nine Winds. And even though Tori has built in tank boots, he was standing in a tornado for the full duration, and he was about 50% health. There was absolutely not a single chance in hell he was getting away.
We'll have a look at the builds right now. Tank boots, only 2 pairs coming out for Legacy, 3 pairs for Alpha Sydney. I cannot wait till this gets patched.
Yes, the ones the tank boots get patched, we can actually start seeing some variety in the builds. Because I love the new Shoes of Focus, I love the new Ninja Tabi, but right now, everyone is just building these obscenely tanky boots that give you 25 physical and magical, almost on the scale of a Heart of the Urchin stack. It's just too much, it's just too much. And over in the mid lane though, Weave actually trying to find a kill there onto Slicey, but Slicey just able to get away on Suku. The mid wave is now just going to be left with Agony and Weave just kind of clearing it up. Stacks being built on the Book of Thought. Over by the mid camps, we see Swifty just using the pole to safely get back to the mid lane as Troy's guys get stunned, but forced into the lurk in the waters as the Ragnarok also comes out.
A couple of ultimates expended here and there. Legacy, they can take solace in the fact that they have higher impact ultimates, but they also have some fantastic opportunities to use them every elsewhere, whilst obviously their ultimates are limited to doing one thing and one thing alone.
I feel like the only one that's kind of different is the Spirit of the Nine Winds. It can be also used over by the mid camp though. Nice Cataclysm coming out into Swifty, getting him extremely low. The portal is enough to get him away. Plus, I believe the med was used by Tori Skies, just getting away as Rana Brown is now flying back to lane.
Gets himself out quite nicely, but again, just not too much coming out from Alpha City in terms of a response.
Beads being actually popped there by Shred as the Gravity Surge almost caught him there as the Charge Prey goes in for a second. Now Slicey also diving in, getting a nice feather step, but also HS rotating over the Unchained, not able to connect. Now both members of Legacy are going to go back to their respective lanes, but Slicey is on the chase and is kind of forced back after HS just keeps walking, using that Fatalis and chooses the Magi to an effect. In the mid lane, Shred getting plucked and get absolutely obliterated by the Unstable Vortex. Nothing he could do there.
HS247 was very sneaky, trying to do that Gold Fury earlier on in that fight, but recognizes when he needs to drop it and rotate towards the fight as well. KO and Shred nearly both dying, but Shred unfortunately did fall down before he could pick up the kill onto the solo laner.
Yes, and now that he's been forced back, now gets time for Slicey to catch up a bit. He doesn't have a single assist or depth to his name, but Alpha City, they're actually looking around this Gold Fury, or possibly even just trying to find this Freya, and they get the nice little pluck onto him, plus the Persistent Gust, but the Freya ultimate is good, and the Geb Shield might keep her long enough to Loki in the waters, doing a lot of damage. She's trying to use every run and landing that final hit with the airstrike, and that will be goodbye to HS247. Torres Guy's trying to escape, but the bird of Nope is actually trying to make him go Nope at all. As Torres Guy's just gets away as the rolling boulder tries to find another target in Runner, but Runner as well is able to get away.
A lot expended to get a kill onto HS247. Yes, it's good to shut down a Freya, but when you sacrifice a lot of your mobility, a lot of your team fight, you just give precedence to Legacy to then start to aggress onto you even harder.
Yes, and since Agony's just been able to get all this free farm, he's been actually in the backline. I haven't really seen too many attempts to get him. There was a very smart attempt by Alpha City to try and tank out this Freya as soon as possible, but I feel like the time has already almost passed, as she's already hit that mid-game strike. She's building into what could be either a Telecon's or Demonic Grip, but Alpha City sneaking away this Gold Fury. It's now only 1,500, and they're actually able to sneak it away, getting themselves a nice free Gold Fury, but over in the solo lane though, only got a solo trying to stop KO from proxying the wave.
He's not going to be able. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that, but a good sneak away by Alpha City keeps them in the gold lead.
Over in solo, the Eagles rally comes down as the Ragnarok picks him right back into that KO, forced to use the meditation as the Spirit of the Nine Winds just off the mark. Slicey not actually able to kill. Sorry, it's actually KO landing with the shield bash right into Kukulkan. That is not what you want to see. Even with the tank boots, there was no way that Agony was going to get out alive.
Unable to find the support that he needed from Swifty. The through space of time was placed perfectly, but just could not get through at this scale. But it didn't really matter because it allowed also rotations through there from KO and Swifty to pick up a very quick kill at Agony.
Not only that, Slicey is now stealing away the blue buff without a single bit of congestion, and that just allows Wukong to have a much harder time in the laning phase. Even though he's got KO extremely low, he's now using the Tiger, getting... Oh, Billy just juked out by KO, and KO now can just walk away for absolutely free. Over in the mid lane, then we Shred, looking to try and box out Taurus guys, but just adding a little bit of poke and then walking away.
Mid tower still stands for both teams, and that's going to cause major issues, especially for the side of Legacy. Maybe they don't have the greatest rotational power, so having their mid tower up is a good thing. Obviously, they need to make sure they take that down as quickly as possible to really force an issue onto these objectives.
Well, Kukulkan is definitely one of those gods who can just basically just blankly just not even have a mind to push away. Just have to use a 3 and use that whirlwind to push. And if Freya can get a little bit of breathing space against this Jinwei, who's now got a 1-level lead, can also open up some doors possibly if they can get the advantage they need. But right now, over in the door lane, Rana's kind of getting forced under tower with a nice banish from HS, kind of just poking him out and just using the pulse to zone him. But the 3 space and time is a 4-man rotation. HS, you have gone too far, and the airstrike just allows Rana to get away. The ult was for nothing, and Freya, you're in no man's land now as Slicey gets a very easy kill.
That's just too much from HS2. So we need to make sure that you play as part of a team and that you play as... well, as a unit. If you go too aggressive, you try and force something yourself, you're going to get punished as HS247 did, and it could end up costing Legacy in the long run.
Well, usually if there wasn't a Yanis, you could come up, you could actually pull off that kind of a greedy play, but instead, thanks to the fact that the Yanis ultimate just allowed 3 members to rotate over, that was not an easy fight for Legacy. And now over in the mid lane, 3 members are all grouped together trying to find something as we kind of looking for that as KO standing in that tornado. They only a little bit of burst just simply because he has quite a bit of defenses on him already. 4-man Cataclysm and the hits to the mark. The Spirit of the Night Winds only hits Torres Sky sadly, and the gravity surge onto Slicey actually does catch Agony. In the backline, Torres Guard gets a kill onto Shred while only good solo forced into the Somersault Cloud as he's trying to find a way out. Torres Guy's diving in the tower using the Loki in the water to see if he can pick it up. His only good solo is nice and healthy, but Agony is going to get bludgeoned to death by KO as KO is now between the towers, but a good portal from Swifty able to save his life, and now Alpha City can keep pushing it though on or just go back as they choose to do, and now just doing that buff as Slicey stealing away another buff, but this time instead of the blue buff, it is going to be the speed buff. It is forced to disengage as only got a solo has rotated over.
Alpha City splitting that fight beautifully and making sure that the front line and back line just did not have a way to communicate with each other or combo with each other effectively, and just picking up people one by one from either side. Great play from the team so far as they look to try and close out this game.
Yes, currently 2-6 reads the scoreboard, as well as 5,600 XP and 4,400 gold. It's starting to feel like a very great sense of deja vu, as Alpha City has started to bring themselves back into the lead, even though they don't have that Kronos like last game. Swifty, as well as Slicey and Tori have all been doing a great job in the mid lane again on their respective gods.
Again, not elected to go into the Ick Violets Ranabrana, instead going for a build we've seen pretty much daily from today. But instead of going in for the Virus Ones, has gone into an Assy for his life steal item because he recognized the fact he needed those boosts for a bit more rotational power to help out the rest of his team.
And with the RC also, just allows him to box at lower health, which he probably will be, especially if he's hit by either a tornado, hit by just picked up by Ragnarok, or hit by a bunch of pulses from Freya. Over in the solo lane, Carrier's just been having a very easy time constantly proxying the wave and has a 2-level lead. Over in the mid lane though, it looks like that Swifty gets absolutely destroyed by the Spirit of the Nine Winds Ragnarok combination again. Gravity Surge only gets Slicey, not exactly someone you want to be picking up, and a 2-man Cataclysm might actually be able to secure the kill, but Slicey just juking away, using that Suku to just run away.
And the combination works out once again for Legacy. They need to do that a couple more times and make sure that Agony has a way to get to the late game potential for this Alkwong. The more that they put a lot of focus onto Agony, the more Alpha City would do as well, and the more freedom HS247 gets on this left-hand side. It's a fantastic plan from Legacy. They just need to pull it off consistently.
Over in the mid lane, Tori's guys tried to block Weed, but he's now basically by himself, getting hit by quite a bit of tornado damage. But he's just going to use those tank boosts to just ensure that he gets a little bit extra protections. He's going to be absolutely fine, kind of just sustaining in the wave, as Rana and KO have rotated over to allow Swifty to get his time to get back into lane.
Chronos Pendant built up for Swifty, as well as full stacks on that Doom Orb. It's a good build. It's a nice build from him, especially with those tank boots giving a bit of protections, but it's just not enough to deal with the
Over in the solo lane, though, only got
power.
a solo actually forced to use the Somersault Cloud as he's trying to take down the tower by himself, but Slicey and KO had rotated. The Bird of Note being used to run away, but Slicey has that consistent move speed with the Suku, and he's trying to lazy back, but it seems like Slicey is going to find him out, knocks him up. Feather Step, Meditation being pulsed, as well as the Master's Ball, over by Gold Fury as well. Massive Fight Break with the 3 space and time being used, as well as Shred going in very deep, trying to get something, but the Stone Shield allows him to get back out again as KO trying to use the Bludgeon, but stuck in the Tornado. Agony getting himself another kill, and now Weave and Agony, as well as HS, still hanging around this Gold Fury, maybe even looking to chase as they pop the 2 from the Kukul Khan to get that nice extra bit of move speed, but instead, Legacy back up. They now have only got a solo thanks to the teleport, and they're going to try and secure themselves quite an easy Gold Fury thanks to the 3 space and time and lack of wrath on the side of Alpha Sydney.
The mid-game potential from this Legacy team comp is starting to come to fruition.
Legacy
and the combo
actually landed a
potential.
beautiful Cataclysm was through the Spirit of the Nine Winds actually to secure that Gold Fury. Those guys nearly get it, but instead Legacy get themselves a nice lead, pulling back the difference. Now only 3,000 gold, 3,000 XP, 1,800 gold, 4 kills to 6. Legacy slowly crawling back into this game.
Well, it's not that it's slowly crawling back, because this game is that Alpha City have started to take their foot off the gas. They've started to make some mistakes, which are starting to be punished by Legacy. And they're starting to get to the point where Kukulkan's coming online, where Freya's coming online. It's not just Shred and Odegaard at solo anymore, it's everybody doing their part again.
Yes, and while everyone is doing their parts, having a look at the player damage, you can see that Agony currently topping the chart with 12k damage on basically, as well as the only one being close is KO below, and the person behind him is only good at solo on the Wukong. Agony just this game compared to last, they've been doing just so much more with the Kukulkan compared to the Agony, and it's, as you said, just down to the team drive, as well as possibly Alpha Sydney messing up a little bit as Swifty gets jumped on by the Fenrir for just a little bit of poke, just enough to kind of send him back under tower.
Well, there's also the combination of mid and jungle. When you have a look at Shred and Agony, they have this Fenrir Kukulkan combination which works very well together. We'll start off Slicey and Swifty when they have this
Over in the mid lane, Shred picks up with the Ragnarok right into the tornado, into the Spirit of the Nine Winds. Agony gets himself another kill. The Eagles rally, trying to find someone, but does very little damage, and same with the Bludgeon. The Scourge comes out as well to disarm HS, but he's just going to shrug it off, as now Run has been forced to rotate over a little bit late to this party, with now a 5-man actually rotation in this mid lane, all trying to find a kill. Shred slowly making his way up the mid lane now to see if he can actually get a push in, but right now Legacy, they can look to engage. The Geb still has his ultimate, and HS also has his.
So as his blink available, does weave as well. So Legacy, they suddenly have the option for the first engage for this next fight.
Yes, but with Toys guys coming up in 5 seconds and Legacy just kind of hanging around on this border of the tower. Swifty just kind of hiding underneath, just waiting for the miniwave. So you can best like Weave with a beautiful blink Cataclysm, getting 2 members, and now they're just going straight for the tower. KO trying to disarm HS, but it only lasts so long, as well as Shred diving very deep, getting gravity surge, but the Stone Shield, as well as his tankiness, keeping him easily alive. And Legacy, they now have the strong portal on the tower, forcing Alpha City right back into the tier 2. KO trying to land the bludgeon. The Aegis was popped by HS. There comes the Eagles rally as well as the knock up. And HS forced into the ultimate. Now the 3 space in time does not connect onto anyone. Slicey getting very deep into the backline. Probably going to be looking for HS. The Stone Shield is good as well as the Tornado. And Agony gets himself a very nice kill onto Slicey. Tori just healing up the way with the Sickle Strike and showing he can stay on the way, but only good at solo. HS forced to back away, getting extremely low now. And it looks like Alpha City might have their turn to push the tower. Torres guys actually going for the pluck, sorry, but the beads was popped by Agony as well as the Spirit of the Nine Winds, just trying to make them get away. Only good soul teleports in just a little too late, but KO getting picked up straight into the mouth of Fenrir as well as the Tornado and the tier 2 tower, trying to make his way to the ball, but the body blocks are way too strong. Shred finishing off the fight with a kill into KO. 7-6 reads the scoreboard.
They need to make sure that they start picking up more objectives to Alpha City, but they need to make sure that they get desperate for them, because their lead is shrinking and shrinking fast as Legacy have found themselves at a point in the game where they're the ones engaging.
Yes, and now Legacy still just holding the tower again, and now just Shred tanking up the tower as HJ just pumping the tower full of pulse. Only good at solo and Weave trying to dive in, but instead Slicey now trying to find the knockup, but the beads was used by Shred to ensure the gravity surge just had zero effect. And now the only good at solo rotating back over to the solo lane to finally knock down this tier 1 tower that's been taunting Legacy for so long.
So there's been a lot of debate in Season 3 about the difference and whether you should really be getting the Demonic Grip or Telkind's Ring on these magical-based ADCs. For me personally, it depends on which god you're playing on. If you're playing Freya or Kronos, you should really be getting the Demonic Grip. And if you're playing on the Soul, it's a 50-50, depends on exactly who you're facing and what playstyle you like to play.
Well, the whole point of the Demonic Grip is basically since Freya's going to be sticking to you with the Fatalis, she's also going to be using that Demonic Grip to constantly be shredding protections, and she's going to be outputting a lot of very fast auto attacks. Quite a long duration that the Pulse as well as the Irradiate buff lasts for around 6 seconds, so you're going to be having a really long time just to chase someone down and shred all the protections. Someone like KO, someone like Tori Skies, you can really just influence how they try to survive and just get rid of anything they hold dear to them.
Well, Road to Hootie almost finished up for Agony. It's a lot of power at this stage of the game for this Kakol, but it's only 22 minutes in, and it's a lot to be handling for anybody in this game.
Over in the duo lane, Alpha Sydney are just getting an absolutely free tower since Rhino was given just that extra little moment to use his Persistent Gust with Taurus guys under the tower, but Legacy, they aren't one to give a tail free. Weave blinks in, Cataclysm onto 2 members, hit 3 space in time, does not connect. The Brutalize nearly connects with Rhino, but he's just able to get away with the airstrike, and now he's turning his attention onto Swifty, who also uses his beads. And over by Gold Fury, over by Gold Fury, only good solo actually starting it up with the other 5 members of Legacy, Taurus Guys and Swifty, rotating over now without the 3 space in time. It's a lot harder to secure. Taurus Guys also getting banished just to make it a lot harder to try and pluck someone in. The Spirit of the Nine Winds finishes it off. Legacy get the Gold Fury.
They now have the first lead of the game for themselves. Alpha Sydney,
Sorry, I guess 2+7 getting a kill onto Taurus Guys, and now Legacy, they're actually going to chase. They're not just complacent getting this coffee, they want everyone dead. Rana using the Sanctuary, but that is to no avail whatsoever. Only good solo gets a kill using the Somersault Cloud, and our Legacy, 4 members looking to push up this duo lane that they just lost the tower in.
Look at this right hand side though, KO continuing his split push, gets a tier 2 tower.
Yes, and with that 2-2 tower falling, Shred has been forced to back and try and defend the lane just to not give up a Phoenix. Meanwhile, Swifty's also rotated into this duo lane, not to allow Legacy to have the easiest time, but HS is still getting quite an easy tier 1. And now they back up, but KO, Slicey have all rotated in, and they are looking for blood with a nice Eagles rally. The Tornado trying to give him lies. HS boxes out Swifty, and Slicey all the way in the back lane, now forced to run away. Good managed by HS, making sure that KO cannot engage. And Slicey now just trying to do the dance of death, but gets stunned out by the Summer Cone. The leap is down, and HS gets himself another kill, and KO just with the tail between his legs again, running away.
Well, the problem right now for Alpha City is can they deal with both the Freya and the Kukulkan at this stage of the game? And I don't really think they have the tools at their disposal to do so in the same fight. If they get rid of one of them in a fight, they have to back off. But by that time, the other one has already killed the rest of the team.
Not to mention, a lot of their builds have built a lot of physical defense. So we see Void Shields, Breastplate of Valors, Sovereignties. Even we see on Taurus, he's building into a what is the Magi's Blessing, which basically gives you both physical and magical. But we only really see things like a Pestilence, a Power Ward. It's very little magical defense against the team, but you really need to get something like a Runic Shield, items that can, or Bulwark, or things like that can really help you against this magical lineup.
Like an Alpha City, they have recognized that a lot of it's coming down to this magical based lineup. But Tory Skies building into, as we haven't seen too much of, and that's going to be the Magi's Blessing. Gives very minimal protection, it's a lot of HP, but also gives you immunity to CC once every 70 seconds.
Not only has Taurus Skies, but Weave has opted to pick one up as well. I feel like that they both need to initiate in a certain way, but both their bubbles have already been popped by each other basically, and they just kind of walk away around this Fire Giant buff area. Swifty is also slowly making his way there. Now the dance of Fire Giant has begun, as Legacy as well as Alpha City are just warding up and getting ready for the fight.
Well, I think whichever team manages to take out the Fire Giant will then take a monumental lead by the amount of gold that's available on the map to both of these teams. The fact there's 2 towers available for Alpha City to take down, 3 towers for Legacy to take. That's either 6,000 or 9,000 gold that they can add.
Well, currently, Legacy have a 4,500 XP lead as well as a 2,000 gold lead, so Alpha City need this Fire Giant badly, but Legacy, they're looking to engage with a nice tornado hitting both 2 members, completely blocking up the pathing, unless you want to start messing with the Kukulkan. And I feel like Alpha City have learned this game that the Kukulkan is one very deadly threat. Shred going in with a nice stun onto Tory Skies, forcing out the Loki in the waters. That will not be available for the Fire Giant fight, and Alpha City all have backed off basically as Legacy slowly rotating their way over to this Fire Giant.
Well, it's not the fact that the Kukulkan's really a safe pick, it's the fact that the tank boots make him extremely difficult to kill, because it reduces incoming damage, somebody did the calculations for this, by 40% until somebody gets penetration on.
Shred actually picks up a lovely pickup onto Slicey as he gets absolutely obliterated by the Spear of the Knife, as well as a good Cataclysm in the backline. The 3 space and time connects onto no one as HS is just firing off blast from his ultimate with the Valkyrie's Discretion. Agony as well as Weaver trying to find something, and only got a Sully now going onto the Cloud. KO just trying to box it out, but the Somersault is another. The HS finishes off, but Rana able to finally find a pick on the side of Alpha City onto HS, but Rana getting extremely low as well as only good solo is chasing, using that Warrior's Will to finish it off. And now it looks like Legacy, if they want, they're just going to push straight into this tier 2 as they're trying to find a kill onto Swifty. Swifty about 50%. The Sanctuary has been popped, but the Tornado is still sticking on him. The Portal just enough to get him out and allow him to laser back, but nope. Shred is in the area, and goodbye.
They invested a lot there in that fight. They only managed to pick up 1 kill as HS247. It doesn't bode well for Alpha City at this point, as Legacy, they're getting stronger and stronger as the game goes on. Agony and HS247 doing more and more damage, and when you're allowed to dive a tier 2 mid at 20% HP and get out for free, the game is starting to get just that little bit further away from you.
Well, speaking of going into Terry and Shred died in the tower after Slicey used the gravity surge and took a ton of damage from the whirlwind. Agony still at full health, just basically auto-tagging as another lurking in the water is popped in the mid lane this time. Agony just going to walk away as Shred does the jump. He's extremely low. He needs to be very careful for not getting bursted, but Agony is doing a decent job to slowly chip away at Tory Sky's massive health pool. And over in the solo lane, only good at solo is still there pushing up the wave, making it a lot harder. The Spirit of the Nine Winds not able to connect on the mid lane, and now Agony just backing up, understanding that he needs to finally get out of there. As only good at solo gets knocked up by a lot of abilities as KO finally picks up only good at solo after this long drawn out team fight. 3 space and time also being used at this moment, but no one was there at the moment.
So the kills at one point were about 6-2, and now it's 15-7 in favor of 15-8 in favor of Legacy, and it's not looking particularly great for Alpha City as it gets further and further into this late game. They have a lot of rotational and supportive abilities, but they're relying solely on Rana Barana to do most of the heavy lifting in these late game team fights.
Yes, and Rana Barana, even though he has been doing a very decent job, currently 2 and 4, he's been trying his best, but whenever he always gets isolated or gets picked up by Shred. Shred's been doing a great job just constantly harassing this backline, diving really deep. Same with Weave, the blinks have been completely on point. Every single Cataclysm has gotten at least 2 to 4 people at minimum. He's just been doing a great job, and even though Alpha City started a Fire Giant, Weave can easily just look to blink in and steal. He may have lost his Magi's Blessing bubble, but he's just kind of walking and using the shockwave, trying to see if Alpha City will actually back up. But Rana still constantly outputting the DPS. He's trying his hardest as Slicey gets extremely low. The massive wolf, though, picks up Swifty, puts him down. The lovely Eagles rally, they're able to save him from KO. Weave gets knocked out by the Cataclysm to Rana, force out the beats as well as the airstrike. KO getting low as well, and the Bird of Nope catches up to him. Shred trying to finish off as well as only good solo. There comes the Somersault Cloud, and he's gonna slam right down, finish him off, and that is it for KO. Finally, in Legacy, they have a bit of a breather, and they're now turning their attention onto Fire Giant. Now they know Swifty has used the 3 space and time.
Honestly, I think that was Alpha City's last hope there, was to sneak that Fire Giant away from Legacy Esports and then try and build up a lead for themselves. But when they lose that objective, Legacy...
Tori's guys trying to use lurking in the waters onto Shred. Rana getting extremely low. Shred is still diving deep in the backline. A lovely 3 Spirit of the Night Wings nearly kills Rana as he gets low, and Shred finishes off the job there. And as well as the Sanctuary being forced onto Swifty as he gets hit by the Whirlwind. Tori's guys now trying to back, but the Unchained will be too much as HS finishes off the kill. And now it looks like Legacy, they don't even want to go for Fire Giant anymore. They've given up on it. They see that Slightly one of the 2 members' lives trying to push up the solo. That means nothing. They can just go straight for this Phoenix with 5 members all pushing at the same time. Senchi's going to try his best to defend, but there is to no avail. The Phoenix will fall, and Shred chasing him, getting at the Ragnarok, but luckily Swifty able to get into the portal as well as use his beats to give himself enough time, as well as the gravity search from Slicey, making Shred's second guess trying to dive in as he gets hit by the Eagles rally as well. Sanctuary being popped as Carey just flips him with the bludgeon. Swifty falling through the portal once again, trying to survive, but only good at Sully, using that lovely Somersault Cloud, picking up the kill, getting a double kill. But in the backline, Agony finally has fallen for the one of the first times in this game to KO.
They get the Phoenix to do Legacy Esports, but they cost themselves a couple of kills in the process. Alpha said they need to hold for the next 5 minutes. But the Fire Giant was looking so tempting
can use a kill onto Slightly. They're still fighting over in the solo lane. You would think only got a solo to the left by now. He's now just running for the Fountain as Taurus guys gets a nice little pluck onto him. He actually tried to lazy. I don't know what he's trying to do when he hit that pack button. I don't think it's trying to be maybe cheeky, but it feels like he knows his death. He accepts it, and KO brings the hammer down on the 3rd member of Legacy as Rana finishes off HS, leaving the Fire Giant actually quite vulnerable, with only Weave being the only person available for another 12 seconds.
He has Blink Cataclysm available to try and defend this objective, but he has no way of securing or stealing it from the members of Alpha Sydney. So it could be a free Fire Giant, a free way back into the game for the boys on the red side.
And now Alpha Sydney have started the Fire Giant, but Wave is in the air with the Blink, the shell from the Magi's Blessing, and the Eagles Rally has been used by Alpha Sydney. But a nice Cataclysm coming out from Wave, but the Lurk in the Walls allows Toys guys to be completely CC immune. It is getting extremely low, this Fire Giant. It is most likely, and it does go in the way of Alpha Sydney as Wave is now by himself. Shred has finally made his way back here, but it's too little too late as now 5 members of Alpha Sydney get the Fire Giant. Shred popping the Ragnarok, trying to catch Rana, but the 3 space and time already allows Rana to get out again. And Legacy, they've lost their first objective. Actually, they've lost their second objective of the game.
So Alpha City, they have the option to defend with this Fire Giant buff or aggress with it. Either wait for this right side Phoenix to respawn and then push up, or aggress and look to get these towers and objectives on the rest of the map. They can split it up, and that's exactly what I think they should do. Have one person back defending from time to time, or even push up this right hand side first and get this Phoenix.
It wouldn't be surprising if it were for Ryan and Brian to basically just try and push up that entire dual lane, and for Alpha Sydney to be a bit complacent, just kind of wait back. Alpha Sydney, they are most certainly doing exactly what you said, going on this aggression and pushing up this right-hand lane to try and push their Phoenix up instead and try and actually get that advantage they need. 32 minutes into this game, 20-12, and Alpha Sydney finally have got an opportunity to get this back, and I don't think they're going to give it up. They understand that if they don't use this to their advantage, they're just going to be throwing away a Fire Giant buff they were gifted.
It was just a bit of over-aggression and overstaying their welcome from Legacy, looking for one too many kills onto Swifty and Slicey, not recognizing the respawn time that's coming up for the rest of the members of Alpha Sydney. And it might come back toward them in the end, and might make sure that Alpha Sydney actually take this set 2-0, or it could just be an insignificant little factor that delays the end of the game by 5 minutes.
Alpha Sydney now returning into the mid lane to try and take this tier 2 tower, but Weave is there with the shockwave to try and keep as many members out. And now Legacy have all grouped as 5 members. They still have a bit of a level advantage when it comes to these 5-on-5. Legacy 1, they may try and look to engage, even though they have the Fire Giant buff disadvantage. Their gold lead should bank up for the fact that they don't have that Fire Giant buff to protect them. KO diving tower with a nice Eagles rally onto Agnes. He uses the blink, but Shred picks up in the backline. Runner Brian has the beat that pops. Swifty going quite deep into tower. Cataclysm gets him as well. KO still on the tower, boxing in the backline with HS and Agony. But Agony able to get a kill onto KO now that he has a lot more power with that Soul Reaver. The Spirit of the Gnome was able to barely not connect onto Tory Skies, as well as now Tory Skies is going completely boxed in, and the Jingu Bang able to finally finish off the job. As now Legacy completely flipped the tables. Only 3 members alive. 3 members alive now on the side of Alpha Sydney, and the 3 space in time was just used by Swifty. Legacy, though, they can look to actually push this mid Phoenix and then go straight back to that right hand side Phoenix that is down.
So the 2 people that fell there for Alpha City were the 2 frontline tanks. The Fire Giants are still on the damaging members of Alpha Sydney, meaning Legacy, they start to be careful when they fight in to Alpha Sydney, but they can just completely obliterate the front line once again like they just did.
And now Legacy just rotating right back over to this right hand side. They understand they need to get this Phoenix down as soon as possible and just move back. They're now a bit more respectful now, Alpha Sydney, understanding they have the Fire Giant buff and taking a much more safer route to this mid lane Phoenix since they have the wave pushed up. Swifty trying to land an unstable vortex onto Wave, but the effects just go on deaf ears. No one feels the pain at all. And now Legacy are backing off, just waiting for this Fire Giant buff to wear off, number 1, and 2, just buy some of the potions they need to give this advantage over the Fire Giant buff.
Legacy have to be careful. They do have more gold, they do have more experience than Alpha Sydney, but what they do not have is the ability to end just yet. Alpha Sydney still have 5 members available to defend. They still have the ability to wipe and win team fights, and Legacy have to be careful that they don't go over-aggressive and overconfident with the lead that they have.
But I feel like Legacy, the thing is, I feel like that over-aggression's been paying off quite nice, especially Shred. He's been doing a really great job on this Fenrir in this game, doing exactly what you want to be seeing from Fenrir, diving deep into the backline, fighting picks, and I feel like the Wheelix hasn't been able to have a similar impact, and Karen and Torres have been kind of trying to do the heavy lifting for the Wheelix, and since this game has gone so long, the Wheelix are now finding it a lot harder to dive this back line.
Legacy, they can end in the next 5 minutes. Alpha Sydney, they can end in the next 8, I would say. It's up to Alpha Sydney just to defend this right-hand side yet again. But it's such a weak Phoenix right now that is it even worth defending?
Not anymore. Now with Fire Giant going to be coming up in another 45 seconds, Alpha City need to turn their attention to the fact that Legacy now have the gold, the levels, as well as XP advantage all over again. Legacy pressuring at this tier 2 tower in the duo lane. Shred looking to find someone, but Rana kind of spots him out and instantly pokes him. Slicey trying to use the graphic search there, but just not able to get within range. And now that's one of the biggest team fights that Alpha City most certainly needed. Wave just kind of walking through the persistent gust, popping off his Magi's bubble, but I don't think he worries too much. He does have the blink, and he does have the Cataclysm ready to go if he needs to die in this tower. Legacy just kind of holding back, looking for that one opportunity to strike.
I'm just having a look at the builds from Rana Barani. He's gone into a triple crit build with Deathbringer, Wind Demon, and Malice. That's 60% crit chance, meaning that you're not going to get so much benefit from that Malice effect, giving you that damage over time. Every single time you crit. I would have like to have seen a Poison Star come out in that slot. Gives you less power, gives you 5% less crit chance, but you get more use out of its passive than you do this Malice.
Yes, but the thing is, with this triple crit build, even though she may have gone into the Poison Star, the Jungwei, when it comes to her agility, giving her that Fatalis effect, makes it not really necessary to pick up attack speed, combined with the Persistent Gust already giving that steroid. Shred kind of zoning around the Fire Giant, looking for a jump as the bubble was popped on Tory Sky's Weave, knocked up right into KO, but he, again, just feels the tickle of a leg game below him with very little damage items other than a Void Shield and a Titan's Bane. And Weave blinks in, 2-man Cataclysm, Shred instantly obliterates Rana Barana. There he goes, and now he's going into Ragnarok form, looking for Swifty, but Swifty's able to not get into the walls. He uses the beat, but Agony finds another kill in the back and to slice as Weave is just rolling out, looking for the next kill. Swifty forced to use that 3 space in time, and Tory Skies is trying to get into the portal as well and is able to just find it. KO the only one ready there, as he's forced to also use the Eagles Rally, and there goes the Banish, making it a lot harder to escape. Getting walled in completely by Legacy. The Mantle, the only thing keeping him alive just a bit. The Spirit of the Gnome does connect with the time, but does not connect with KO. And Legacy, they're just going for the end. They're not even going for the Fire Giant. They're just trying to burst it out as fast as possible. A good port from Swifty just slows them down a little bit, but they're just going so hard. And there falls the Titan.
All one team fight is all that needed to happen for Legacy to take this game, and it was a beautiful engage from Weave, Shred, and Agony combined. And Alpha Sydney, they find themselves on the losing end of this second game. It's a 1-for-1 overall. Legacy, they performed better this game. In their first game, they didn't quite perform out to the standard you expect from them. It's a bit of a topsy-turvy set for them, and that really is indicative of how this split has gone for them so far.
I feel like Legacy in that first game, they were trying to pull out a lot of aggression that they were able to actually pull off in the second game, but the first game they just didn't have the draft that they wanted to match their playstyle. Legacy have always been a very aggressive, very good at positioning, and that first game they just were able to properly get it out, but that second game, they finally got Agony on their Kukulkan, and it paid off. Kukulkan is a Hail Mary, and they just managed to make it work. It was great.
So we'll be talking with our MVP for that set. It's Legacy's only good at solo from the solo lane. Okay, how are you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing good, thank you.
So you come out of this set with a 1-1 split against Alpha Sydney. Given how the rest of the split so far has gone for you, how does it feel to start getting back on track?
It's not really back on track. We expected to 2-0 Alpha easily, but I guess we just didn't build reinforced creeps in the first game, so it was rough.
Don't worry, next week when you don't build reinforced creeps, no one's going to shout at you for that one. But in the second game, obviously everyone's focus, everyone's talk was on that Kukulkan pick from their mid lane. Was that a pocket strat, or was that something that you've been practicing in streams consistently?
We haven't really been practicing it, it's just Agni likes playing Kukulkan, and yeah, Kukulkan's... Well, you can play like anything with reinforced creeps because you're super tanky, and you might as well play Kukulkan since you do so much damage.
Alright, Lynx, do you have any questions for our MVP?
Just one question really, like what was behind the Sun Wukong pick? Because the first game you went the Raven and you tried to make it work, but you just couldn't make it work. Why go with the Sun Wukong? Why not stick with the Raven and see if you can make it work the second game?
Wasn't Raven banned?
Raven was indeed banned in the second banning phase.
Yeah, I wouldn't have played Wukong, but I think Amaterasu, Lang, and Raven were all banned out, and Wukong's just like an okay pick, I guess.
Alright, before we let you go, do you have any shoutouts?
No, not really. Shout out to Agni for playing Kukulkan well, and shout out to Reinforced Creeps for making Smite a great game.
And with that, thank you so much, Only Got Solo, for joining us. And thank you to you at home for joining us as well for today's Smite action. Be sure to join us for tomorrow for a blockbuster matchup. It is Pandemonium versus Avantgarde. My name's Alpha Jackal. I'll be there. Will you? You do not want to miss that one. But from all of us here, from myself, from Lynx Clone, and from Cyanide, we'll see you tomorrow.